Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey, welcome everybody. This is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for joining our call today. Today, several things were mentioned before we started the recording about different connections that we have, connections with our ancestors, connection through our heritage, connection to our religion and where we're born, just lots of different partnering with God, lots of different types of connections. And the word bonding, I think Deepti actually mentioned the word bond, that really stuck out to me as that was like, yes, that's the kind of connection that I'm feeling here today, is these bonds, and maybe like an eternal bond. But we're going to just use the word bonding for our private silent meditation today. So this could be with people, or it could be something completely different. So just be open to receive whatever inspiration that you personally are meant for today on gratitude for bonding. And we'll see what comes up. So 90-second private silent meditation, gratitude for bonding. Just write down what comes up for you, and we'll share. Begin. All right. I think I'm going to be doing some more meditation on this. I started out, I don't know if you guys have seen the YouTube video of the woman who used Gorilla Glue because she ran out of her, whatever it was, kind of like a pomade type thing for her hair, and used Gorilla Glue instead. And it was, now her hair is like plastered to her head, and she's suing the Gorilla Glue company. And Gorilla Glue company was quoted as saying something like, "We never thought we would ever have to put on our label, not for use in hair." And it just made me realize that some bonds are not ever meant to be. There's some relationships, and I think about a couple of, especially one specific job that I had, where I was meant to be there because I definitely learned a lot of really good things, but I did not fit there. I wanted to create a bond with this company and to, give my best, and that it was just not a good fit. It was a very toxic relationship, sort of like putting a toxic product on your hair and thinking that that's going to be good. It was kind of like that. And I realized that the bonds that are really the most the ones that we really want to have as eternal are easy connections. They're filled with charity, they're filled with love, and they're free. Um, it would never be a relationship where someone felt like they were trapped, in a cage and not able to be able to move around and grow and expand and magnify. So, as far as like a husband-wife relationship or something like that, to of course, there's these eternal, forever bonds that we create in marriage, but there's still a lot of freedom within those bonds. And I think that's the power of those eternal bonds, is that it does allow for infinite freedom of expression. So, like I said, it just feels like kind of the beginnings of some new understanding that I get to have about this idea of bonding. Phil.
Well, I'm a contractor, and so bonding is something that is requested frequently, and basically a bond is just somebody or a company that stands beside you and guarantees your work. And then,
Mm.
if you don't perform at a certain level, then they can have a claim against the bonding company, and of course, the bonding company will eventually go after you and make you pay for it. It's the same thing if you go to jail and you get bonded, you do
Mm.
a bail bond.
Mm-hmm.
They stand beside you. You pay some money to them, and then if you don't do your part, then they do their part, and they'll actually send somebody out to go get you. So but really that bond creates a security for others. It creates this sense of duty and a certain performance at a certain level, and then it will to so that people will hire you, or that you can get out and go live your life or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when you're bonded with God too, that you have this sense of security, and you have these suggestions and ways to move forward. You have this partner that stands beside you and gives you that guidance, or that assurity that you need in order to move forward. Anyway, that's just I'm kind of all over the place with that thought, but
Yeah,
that's
I really love this idea. That's not something that I would have ever thought of, about being bonded as like a contractor and a bonding company, even like a bail bond, like you said. Yeah, it feels like more like earthly contracts, a contract for the time that you're building someone's house or whatever. And but I love this idea of being bonded with God, and that the security that other people must have to work with you when they feel that you have that bond with God, when you've made an eternal contract, a covenant to serve God in a certain way, and other people recognize that in you, and they can feel that it's way better than like any certification or contractor's license, or any kind of piece of paper on earth that says that you're good at what you do. Having a bonding company, or even beyond that, like God, being bonded with God, that they know that they can trust you, that there's integrity in your work and everything. That's really a powerful thought. Thank you.
I had one other
Uh-huh.
thought too, and that is that sometimes there's a bond is only one way. you know like you can't control someone else, and
Mm-hmm.
you could be like stuck to them, or stuck to some kind of belief, or stuck to something that you feel like you are welded to it or something, but that you can't control um, that other element. You can be bonded one way, but that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that they're bonded to you, so to speak. And so anyway, that I don't know. It's all
Yeah.
kind of, it's kind of all the same, but I can't get all my thoughts
Yeah,
like
that's
completely in
okay.
order. So
That's kind of the way I was too. That's why I say, I probably have to focus on this a little bit more. But as hearing what you say is in the beginning, there is a two-way bond that, both of you are coming to the table, you make an agreement, you're, committed to each other. But then if one person doesn't fulfill, then the other person isn't held, to that agreement either. Just thinking about God, there's a scripture, I don't know exactly where it is, but it's something, as long as you do what I say, you have a promise. But if you don't, then, I can't fulfill on my part. So, yeah, it's important that we uphold our end of the bargain and bond with those people that we know that we can trust. Thank you. Betsy.
So I was thinking about that too. I'm so grateful Phil brought that up because I was actually thinking along the lines of a bonding agent. Something I had to laugh at the Gorilla Glue comment only because it's like, where else do we shop for makeup and hair things except Home Depot?
Yeah.
But yeah, so with a bonding agent, like super glue or Gorilla Glue or something else, we're really able to bring two things together or maybe mend broken things. And besides all the connotations that it can have as life coaches and mentors, helping people heal or bringing relationships together or things like that. I really think of how, God is our super glue and bonding agent. And as long as we're not bringing turpentine to the mix and trying to, get rid of that glue, it's a really solid connection.
Mm-hmm.
And that as he offers up, and especially I always envision the Savior with his arms outstretched towards me. And it's always so beautiful because it's always a reaching. And then I have to take that step forward. And so he's always, ready to have that bond with us as we will but reach our hand out and hold on. And it's still up to us to keep that bond sacred, to keep that whether it's a covenant or I don't know, just that that connection, to do our part, to reach out and to let that bonding agent be solid for all eternity.
Beautiful. I love that. I was thinking of like forgiveness and the atonement could be a bonding agent. And I love how you mentioned, as long as we don't bring turpentine to the mix, as long as we're not, bringing our old stuff that would release that bond, then we're promised, to have that that connection. Thank you. Beautiful. Who else?
I'll speak.
Okay, thank you, Daisy.
So I think bonding with oneself is really important if you have to bond with the God, because if you are in that box of victimization wherein you see, okay, life sucks and why this happens to me and life is unfair and God is unfair, you have totally discounted and denied your own power that resides inside you. The moment you start bonding with your own self, you realize how powerful you are and your connection to God starts building up. So I think if you are totally discounted from your own self, you can never, get to that bond of reaching God. So I think bonding with oneself is super duper important.
Yes, for sure. I loved what you said, like quit denying your own power. That's a really important part of bonding with yourself, really seeing the power that you have within and bonding with that, like inseparably connecting your body and your spirit, because we know that each of us have really powerful spirits, our natural gifts and the, you know, the talents and everything that we have within us are really powerful. And when we bond with those and we begin acting as if we are these really powerful beings, then we do become more in alignment with God. Thank you. Any other thoughts? I'm really grateful for the eternal bond that I have with my bloodline, you know, with my ancestors, with my family. I have people who have passed on. My great grandma Williams was like my favorite person on the planet. And I was really blessed to know her for many, many years. I think she died when I was in my late teens or early 20s. And I loved her and I wanted to be like her when I grew up. I spent a lot of time with her spending the night, and just, I would walk to her house and just spend so much time with her. And I have so many wonderful memories, and I'm just super grateful for that eternal bond that we have, and that I'll be able to meet with her again after I pass away. Deepti says the Kundalini Shakti resides inside you, waiting for you to wake up from your slumber so that you can get the energy moving upwards and remember your power. Yes, it's like that giant within, the sleeping giant. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. I think this is a really great opportunity for us to shift over into a meditation where we get to know that power within, kind of bond with ourselves, with our highest self within. So go ahead and take a deep breath and just allow yourself to go into, I'll go inward, just to begin to get to know yourself. And right now, as you're even going within yourself, just listen. Maybe there's some limiting beliefs that are coming up right now about what you might discover, or, you know, worried about what you might discover. Maybe it's something that you don't want to see. Maybe you're not as good as everybody thinks that you should be, or whatever. So just listen for any limiting beliefs that might be coming up right now as you're going inside. And as you take a deep breath this time, just follow your breath down into your heart area, into your lungs, and allow your lungs to expand, and watch as that air fills the whole core of your body. So it expands, and just feel this like big, huge, empty vessel that the inside of you is. And see that as just pure creation space there, just pure space where you can learn and grow and get to understand yourself. And one more deep breath, and allow that air to go down into your limbs, into your arms and hands and fingertips, and into your legs and feet and toes. And just create some big open space there to expand and to be able to see things clearly. And again, listening for any limiting beliefs, or if there's any dark, heavy spots inside of you that are not wanting to leave as you're expanding and creating this big open space. Just walk over and shake hands with that dark, heavy space and say, what is the message you have for me? What is it that you really need to get across to me? That, you know, obviously you're staying here for a reason, and I want to have a conversation with you. I want to connect with you in this moment. What do you need to say? What do you need me to understand? And just listen for those messages that might be there from those dark, heavy areas that have been resistant and persistent in staying within you, to not allow you to expand and grow to your highest potential. And add those messages to the information that you've already received with limiting beliefs. And just allow yourself to just sit in this open space. And now that that dark, heavy area has delivered its message, what would it like to do? Would it like to stay there and just be your companion through this experience? Or would it like to leave? Is it time for it to leave now that it's shared the message? And whatever it would like to do, just check in and see if you can allow it to be and do whatever it would like to. Take another deep breath. And in this open space, I invite you to be aware of any individuals, whether it be deity or past ancestors that have left. Maybe it's future grandchildren that have not been born yet, whoever it is that you feel to invite into this space. And maybe it's just energetically inviting a friend, someone who is still living, just someone that could help you to see yourself and become the highest and best that you can be. And just invite only those people in that you trust, that you have created an eternal bond with, that still allows complete freedom, charity, and love to exist. And just be there in this space with these entities that are committed to your growth, and they're bonded to you in helping you to become the best that you can be. And then with all of the people and resources that you need, allow yourself to begin to know yourself. And maybe you can allow these people that you've invited in to give you some hints, give you some information that you haven't been able to see yourself, a blind spot that you've had in being able to recognize your divine intelligence, your divine energy that resides inside of you. Deepti has mentioned in the chat about the divine energy that resides inside of you. And just allow yourself to really tap into and get to know who you are. And as you're starting to get glimpses of the greatness and the power that exists within you, also listening again for any limiting beliefs that might be coming up of how you have denied that power in the past. And take as much time as you need to really feel that power growing, understanding growing, faith growing, because maybe you haven't used that power in the past and don't even really know how. Just apply faith to that, and having charity for yourself, and allowing charity to be given to you from these people that you've invited into this space. And know that if you are receiving it as inspiration in your imagination, it is true. Trust it. This is an individual inspiration that's coming to you directly from God through these entities that you've invited to be a part of this meditation. And it is true. He knows you better than you know yourself. Just accept it, receive it, believe it, bond with it, and apply that bonding agent of forgiveness and the atonement, because we know that it never was required for us to be perfect and to do it all right the first time. That we have these bonding agents that can help us to let go of things that do not serve, and to really bond with those things that are true. Take one more deep breath, and let's take a moment and address those limiting beliefs that have come up, and listen for guidance on what the use of these limiting beliefs was in the past, because at some point it was important for you to bond with these limiting beliefs. But is it still true now? Is it still important for you to bond with those limiting beliefs? And if you can see the beginning to see the cost of these limiting beliefs, and how if you keep holding on to them, if you stay bonded with them, how this will affect your ability to become your highest and best self, as you're beginning to see. If you're starting to see that they're going to not going to be a good thing, then you can give yourself permission to choose something else. And so if you're ready to give yourself permission to choose a new belief that will serve you in helping you to become your highest and best self, say yes.
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 Awesome. So what are some new beliefs that will help you to let go of these limiting beliefs and to choose some new ones? What new beliefs will help you to move past those limiting beliefs and to begin to bond, instead of bonding with the limiting beliefs, that you're bonding with your highest and best self, that you are beginning to embrace your power and to believe what you know about yourself, intuitively know about yourself. What new beliefs will help you to step more fully into bonding with your eternal and divine intelligence? 2 or 3 new beliefs to take the place of that old limiting belief, and that will help you bond more eternally with that divine intelligence, so that you can now go forth and take action based on this new person that you know you are. And just take a deep breath and allow those new beliefs to become part of this vision. In fact, maybe they are embodied into an actual being that can be with you, possibly an angel of mercy, or an angel that can remind you anytime you feel the pull to go back to old thinking. These new beliefs can actually be something and someone that could remind you of who you are. Allow these new beliefs to be there in that space, just as real, just as tangible as God or Great Grandma Williams or whoever it is that you've invited in. That these new beliefs are just as real and just as powerful as those people, and just as capable of reminding you of your power. And having these new beliefs there and knowing more fully what your power is, it's time to know what the next step is. And so just ask intuitively, what is the one most important thing that I could do today that would help me to bond with my eternal divine intelligence, and listen more fully to these new beliefs and these others that I've invited into this space who know me even better than I know myself. What's the one inspired shortcut that you could take today to really create that bonding with your divine self? And in a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. We've got a couple of people that are already unmuted and that are ready to share. And so I do want to, as you're coming back to the present, just invite anyone who is feeling like they need some extra support to go to askwylene.com, and you can schedule a 15-minute call with me on my calendar, askwylene.com. Deepti, and then Crystal, and then Tyree.
Since we're talking about bonding, this is purely what I have learned from my energy medicine course I'm doing, and I thought it's a real cool information to share right now with the topic we are discussing. So what I recently learned is there is one higher self. We all have one higher self, and that higher self creates one sphere, which is our original soul. and that original soul creates 12 aspects of itself, which is sitting around the original soul, and that becomes our soul cluster. Then each of the sphere which is sitting around the original soul creates 12 aspects of themselves. So totally our soul family consists of 144 souls, which is 12 spheres of the original souls, and created 12 aspects of themselves. So that becomes 144 souls in our soul family. And then so once you start connecting to that 144 souls of your soul family, we have the divine union to our higher self. So I would just take this opportunity and thank wherever these 144 souls of my higher self are. I just like to thank them because I am bonded to them somewhere.
Beautiful. Thank you, Deepti. I hope that you will put some information about that in our Breakthrough with Gratitude Facebook group. I would love to learn a little bit more about this. And what this really tells me is that I'm not alone. And I think that that is one of the biggest counterfeits, that if we believe that we're alone, then there's so much temptation to not have the power to be able to really see how powerful we are, because we see so much of our imperfection. And if we look at our soul this way, as such an expansive and connective thing, because there's a lot of times we don't judge, other people as harshly as we judge ourselves, that if we see that there is this soul cluster, that it's not just all about me, not just like one individual, within me. I love that idea of more things connected to me than just, that just my soul. I love that idea. I'd like to learn more
Thank
about
you.
that. Thank you. Crystal.
So I am currently being rejected by someone who should be very, very close to me. And I've thought of, as I was thinking about it, I thought, my mom has had similar experiences, but she is a lion. And as I was thinking, I was feeling like, well, I'm a butterfly, and butterflies are weak compared to lions. Their wings can tear. But my new belief is my wings are titanium gold, and I am light and free and happy. And recently, I heard this lady speak. She was a mission president's wife for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where you're in charge of 300 to 500 missionaries who are 19-year-olds. And someone said, "Are you really stressed? Because, you're in charge of not just 5 kids of your own, but these 500 teenagers,
Kids.
really." And she said, "Nope, I'm not worried. All I have to do is love them and feed them." And I kind of worry about my children, but I'm like, I am going to be light and free and happy. I'm going to be a great example. I'm going to love them and feed them physically, spiritually, and then they get to decide their journey.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. Thank you. I love that idea of bonding in love and charity, because part of charity is that you have your own individual, stuff, and you allow other people to have their own individual stuff too. Even Christ, when he would go about serving and healing people, he would give the responsibility of the faith to be healed to the other person. He would never take that on of, oh, dang, I didn't heal that person. Like, what's wrong with me? He never went to that. He always gave the responsibility of the healing to the person. Beautiful. Thank you. Tyree.
Last Friday, I was talking to a group of women, and I realized in talking to them that as a teenager, I had decided that I was going to be my family's savior in our finances and stuff, that I was going to become rich and wealthy by the time I was 30 and help everyone and all of these things. And that was pretty unconscious. I that I wasn't aware of it, and so remembering that I had thought about those things and sort of made that decision brought some clarity to me, because that savior complex is so counterfeit,
Mm-hmm.
because it brings us to a place of unrealistic expectation, and also putting us in a place that we cannot possibly fulfill,
Mm-hmm.
because the only one that can truly help and save us is our is our Savior Jesus Christ. And so I think that also blocks true bonding in the way that God intended. And so
Yes.
anyway, I
Wow.
just processed that.
Yes, I really appreciate that. You're absolutely right. There's so many counterfeits that go on, because there's this desire to want to serve and help and, but it's a false, it's a counterfeit charity, because first of all, it's not your responsibility to save your family financially. And if we put ourselves into that position, we're basically putting ourselves in place of Christ instead of being the hands of Christ or following Christ, or some of the things that he has asked us to do, and to have his charity, yes, have that charity that he had. But again, he went around and gave in a completely different way. He saved in a completely different way. And each one of us has the potential and kind of there's an eternal bond that we've created before we even came here, because of our natural gifts and the way that we serve best, that we have certain ways that we get to bring people to a place where they can be saved, not necessarily like going out and saving people, but bringing them to a place where they actually have the opportunity to be saved because of choices that they make. And yeah, it's again, just not taking it on yourself, but being the hands of Christ and following Christ, but not put yourself in the place of Christ. Yeah, so much to be learned there. Well, thank you all for all of your comments. I feel like this is one I want to go back and listen to again, because it just almost is like this new concept of bonding. And there's so many counterfeits around this. We think of like codependence and, like trying to control your kids and, oh, I just want them to be happy, so I'm going to make them do this. And the freedom that we should feel within, really true eternal bonds, and the integrity that we must be in to be able to be trusted, when we take on that partnership with God, when we bond ourselves with God in business and in life, the eternal commitment that is when we think of bonding ourselves with an eternal being, that's an eternal commitment. And even bonding on the earthly level, when we create contracts, and the integrity that we want to display there, and the discernment that it takes for us to be able to bond with the right people, to partner up with the right people that are just as committed as we are. And just so much that gets to be learned with bonding with your eternal divine intelligence, that energy within you. And even knowing that it goes beyond that. Our soul, we've often talked about the different parts of the soul, that, your thoughts, your energy, your beliefs, your environment, all these things are part of your soul. And Deep T's introduced this idea that there are 12 aspects of the original soul, and each of those aspects has 12 souls in the soul family. So that's even a brand new concept to consider. That it's way bigger. There's something way bigger than us that we get to discover and learn about before we can really create that true bond, which is, I feel, is where we have the most happiness and feel the most fulfillment, and where, we're basically perfect. And it's the goal of all of us. So thank you all for everything that has been shared. It's just been a wonderful conversation and meditation. So look forward to what we get to learn from here. We are going to be back together. Today's Thursday, so we'll get back together tomorrow, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll look forward to everyone coming back. And I know with this gratitude call, one thing builds on another. And so tomorrow, I'm sure we're going to have some really great conversations because of what we learned today. Thank you. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.